How many, if the U.S. got in a real deal boots on the ground war with multiple countries, like how many do you think we could win it? Like I'm going to list countries and you tell me when this aggregate amount of countries.
So let me go first because I think the United States can beat the entire planet by themselves.
No, that's not true.
There's a whole YouTube video about it.
Oh, well, never mind. How the U.S. can win against the whole world. Step one, be an idiot on YouTube.
No, it's that like, Binkoff's Battlegrounds channel. That's all
says
they do.
Here, Michelle Obama's the hottest first wife.
Hi, welcome to U.S. is the best military on earth channel. And here's 10 reasons why we're the best. And we could beat China, Russia, England, France, Germany, South Africa, Nigeria.
Here,
counting a lot of countries that don't matter.
That's laughable. That
you should watch the video.
Well, wait. Are we defensive or offensive?
If we're playing against the whole world, we're going to be on the defensive.
Okay, so how do they get us?
China, land invasion. Russia has
land invasion.
The United Kingdom has an air force.
Let's start at your first country. China land invasion. So they're going to pile in boats and cross the Pacific Ocean. At no point will the most powerful navy ever will ignore.
Thank God the most powerful navy won't have other things on its plate like Saudi Arabia and Russia and
India. What would Saudi Arabia do? How would the Saudis get here, Taylor?
India, China.
They have no way to get here.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't. We are the people who are able to land in another country with an entire army full of tanks and everything that supports them and all those battle groups. No one else does that or can.
Dude, a global war, we straight up don't have goods. We have no manufacturing. We will not win. That's insane to think the U.S. can win.
We can beat the rest of the country.
We want to shift to a wartime economy.
But here's the thing that's true. We have 11 aircraft carriers, and the rest of the planet combined has what? 3?
Yeah, but they're not as good as ours.
And they're not as good as ours.
And the Russian one and the Chinese one don't count.
That's true.
I think the Russian one's broken or gone.
It's broken. And the Chinese one is a Russian one, and it has a ramp on the end.
Now, do you think that China might make a lot more if they started a war with the U.S.?
They're going to be manufacturing things while they fight us.
Yes,
why would we allow
a huge amount of manufacturing happening during war?
When the Cold War kind of petered out, they took all those nuclear submarines, the ones that were carrying ICBMs, and they converted half of them to missile submarines. So each of them carries 140 Tomahawk cruise missiles. They're scattered across the planet in the water. Nobody knows where. Lately, we've been doing this thing where we surface just to freak people out. Why? How would they have any manufacturing? How are they going to be producing new arms? And I keep going back to this. They have to get here. They have to get here.
I mean, as far as manufacturing, they have more manufacturing capability than we do.
I think Kyle's saying we'll quickly reverse that. We have submarines off the coast of China, and we'll take out their whatever.
Their infrastructure, their electricity grid.
Manufacturing.
But now we're I don't know. But
we invented the internet. I bet we're capable of some pretty good technological things.
We don't make most of.
We make all of the. We've shifted to making most of our electronics.
You think that we get total embargoed from every other country and we are able to fight? No, our economy gets destroyed. Our ability to import goods, precious metals, services from other places. That we need to be able to make these electronics. Where are we getting these precious metals now? South Africa, we're at war with them. Russia, we're at war with them. India, we're at war with them. Nigeria, we're at war. We wouldn't have the raw capacity for it. Canada's at war with us. That everyone's at war with us.
Come on. Oh, no. I
was saying that. I was saying more, even Canada. The Mounties are going to take Maine when we're distracted.
To me, you just keep coming back to this situation where their missiles won't work. They can't get here because there's no way we allow boats full of people to cross the Pacific Ocean. Hawaii's in the middle. The entire Pacific fleet's there.
That's true. Hawaii's never been attacked.
There isn't. If you took all the navies of the world, ours still wins way easy. They don't get to use the water. We take the water right away. The water's ours.
Manufacturing in wartime works is not you start a war with a net amount of stuff.
It's not World War II, Taylor. We don't need to make new planes. We're not going to be losing that many. We're here defensively. They're coming to us.
We're not gonna win a war against the world defensively. Like, you have to conquer the world. That's what you.
We have to make them. We have to make them surrender.
I feel like lots of people would,
like all our wars.
That's how Afghanistan and Iraq.
I guess it comes down to, like, I was in my question. I was meaning, like, if we're taking on the world as the U.S., a win is not the U.S. maintaining itself. The win would be defeating the world.
We would defeat them. They would surrender because
that's not China anymore. That's the 78th state.
I think the United States would defeat the entire world and they would surrender.
Do we own their land afterwards, or do they just say, never mind?
I mean, there'd be a negotiated peace, right? They'd have to make us financially right, and there'd be some trade agreements agreed upon. Whatever we allow.
Oh, shit. So you're not going for just they decide attacking was a bad idea.
Oh, it was a very bad idea.
Well, okay, I guess, but stopping there, like, one way to win the war would be for them to be like, you know what? We're done attacking. This sucked. We have so much deaths. Our economy's terrible. Let's just go back to where we were before. That'd be a win.
Yeah, I don't think we would.
But not in this scenario.
Go with that.
I'm meaning like
you want a more.
This is like at the end of it. China is the United States, and I don't think there's any way the U.S. is strong enough to conquer the world. There's just no way.
Well, the conquering thing, of course, I don't see our army sweeping the globe like a video game and just being over everyone, making a one world government under the American flag. I don't think anybody can do that. What I'm saying is, if the world all declared war on us and they had to come here and make us surrender, they couldn't. Maybe with nuclear weapons, we could all die together. But if we take nuclear weapons off the table.
But that's a draw, actually. Yeah, that would be a draw.
But if you take nuclear weapons off the table, I just don't think the entire world can get here. You're like, the Saudis. Oh, yeah, those guys.
Economically, they can destroy us.
So we go to a wartime economy and establish martial law when it's us versus the planet. There's no more economy or anything like that. The federal government.
Well, there is. Everything. You need goods. You need like funds moving around. You need to be
all federalized. Everything would be federalized.
And as soon as we go to war with the world, the dollar is destroyed because
Why would we care what the dollar does? The dollar would be very stable because it's traded in one place, right here in the homeland.
No,
all those dollars out there
and Venezuela and all these countries took oil
because most of them exist outside this country, wouldn't be in play anymore. I'm telling you, it's a different scenario if you're talking about the United States being defensive against the whole world. The economy is not going to matter. There isn't an economy. It's martial law. We're working to live. We're fighting for our lives.
No, but there is an economy. It's about being able to import sufficient goods to keep the everyday maintenance of complex systems moving. And when that fails, you have infrastructure problems in the homeland. Like, it would not take that long for the U.S. if we're waging war across the world.
We're not waging war across the world again. We're fighting this defensive war where they're dropping like flies as our border getting swatted like a bug zapper.
Even so, like we
what do we need to make? Like, what do we need? Semiconductors,
guns, bullets, fucking food.
All right. Now you've lost. Now we're gonna run out of guns and bullets.
We're gonna run out of materials because we don't
number one importer
everything
of those things.
Here.
What do we need? Like, specifically, not oil. We're one of the biggest.
The chips that are currently made in Taiwan.
We need the chips that are made in Taiwan. We need the metals to make the chips that are not mined in the U.S. We need huge amounts of goods.
We need lithium for our electric cars.
We need the lithium. We need that lithium. The Sudan mine or whatever.
I'm just not buying it, and I don't see a scenario in which we couldn't go get the things we wanted by force if we wanted to. That's what that'd
be fun. You see a shipment of lithium and you just make it come here.
Yeah, you
just take it. Meanwhile, the rest of the world where you're not invading at the time, their economy's fine.
We're not invading
able
anywhere.
To produce and manufacture.
No, they're not. I think you're underestimating how scary the United States military is and the power that we would have economically if we disappeared from the planet and the dollar disappeared from the planet. And I don't know what we could do as far as the cyber attacks, but you would imagine that we're pretty crucial to the world internet system. And I think we win. I don't think they can get us. I don't think they can get here.
I think defensively we win. Yeah.
I'm not afraid of the Canadians. There's not enough.
There's something about. I watched a YouTube video again, Taylor.
Everybody gives back.
But I think even Taylor would agree with it. It talked about how hard the U.S. is to invade, and part of it, in fairness, was that Canada and Mexico are allies. Mm-hmm. But then another part of it was like, man, the way that the Mississippi River splits it, makes it hard to cross. It makes it easy for us to transport goods and materials up and down, like as a waterway. Apparently, the Rocky Mountains and the coast. It just we have
the interstate highway system is built for this purpose. It is
geographically
built for the
we present a bigger problem than many countries get. Like Russia, for example, one of the reasons they're doing this whole Ukraine thing is they're very easy to invade from the West, and they feel vulnerable from that side. Yeah, they feel vulnerable from that side. Whereas America, assuming Mexico and Canada are our friends, very hard to invade.
You're right. Yeah, like there are some countries that just are difficult to invade. Like Iran is a good example. They're entirely surrounded by mountains. I was reading the U.S. did like a war game, like prediction of what a boots on the ground war would look like in Iran, and they stopped the war game prediction after like 2 days because of how many losses America would have. They're like, oh, this is not doable. No, we cannot have a land war in fucking Iran.
Yeah, because Iran see the papers. Did Trump wave them around, or Iran attack planes?
He had added some Sharpie to it, and it made the Americans much taller.
Dude, a lot of people think like Iran is like Iraq, or like what Iraq is now. It's like no, Iran's much more real deal a country than modern Iraq.
Yeah, I don't really know. I see both sides of it. I see like they're much more like westernized than you think, and they've got a great economy and they're educated and all that stuff. And then you see like it's Sharia law, how do you pronounce Sharia law, and a religious government, and they're kind of backwards and they hate women. And I'm like, I don't know what the truth is.
I don't think they hate women over there in Iran.
I think it's like a little bit of, I think both. I think
there's a little bit of misogyny going on there.
Yeah. Saudi
are they a burqa country?
Oh,
they're definitely a hijab.
Saudi Arabia has a lot of issues with I think women just
got no Saudi Arabia burqa company.
Yeah,
not burqa either. And they're not. You're thinking a hijab, not burqa. Burqa's the full outfit where you like can't even see out.
No, I think that's Saudi Arabia.
We've been having
Afghanistan. Saudi Arabia is fine with a hijab. Where you just have the head covering.
I've been watching Philip DeFranco's videos on it, but on the Saudi-U.S. relations are very poor right now. We're apparently warming up to the Venezuelans, and I see that the Saudis are cutting the oil production again. Right? They're not happy with the Western countries using their strategic reserves to manipulate the price, and also we're making a lot of oil. I'm sure, despite what Biden has done. And they're cutting production again by, I don't know, another 1 billion barrels or something like that.
Are they still threatening to sell it on the ruble and the Chinese fucking dollar, whatever, the yuan?
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. I know we've threatened them a lot. With their military, because most of their planes are our planes. So if we cut off that part supply, part of the whole thing, reason this whole Ukraine thing is interesting is because it's like Android and Apple, right? That's how the arms are in the world right now, more or less. There's France and Korea, but it's Android and Apple. And
there's Windows phones that come from France, but who gives a fuck? They're not a real player.
Fuck that. That's not compatible with either of them.
Linux.
So the Western guys in the United States, we make these Apple phones. The Russians, they've got this fucking Androids. And if you're Saudi Arabia or India or Pakistan, you have to pick. Because you want all your shit to work together. Yeah.
And the US stuff tends to be really technologically advanced, but maybe fragile by comparison. Takes a little more expertise to maintain them. Yeah. And the Russian stuff tends to be just sort of simple, strong, and durable and tough. And if you were to ask me 3 years ago which one's better, I'd shrug. But now they've been tested.
Russian stuff's like the flip phone, man. Yeah. I had a flip phone that just I said I would upgrade when it broke. I didn't upgrade that fucking phone until like 2013 and it never broke is the fucking thing. Like it died one time and came back to life, actually.
Sorry, Kyle, I think I threw you off your groove.
No, you're perfect. But like one of the things one of the ways that the United States exerts its powers on countries is, hey, wouldn't you like a bunch of F-16s? That could be your Air Force. Our shit is good. You've seen them in action. You're like, yeah, we can afford 200 million of them. Then a few years pass, and
here's both.
A few years pass, and they do something we don't like. Oh, did you stop that oil vessel? Are you cutting down on your production of oil? Are you supporting this religious group that secretly funds Hamas? No more carburetors for you. No more carburetors for those F-16 or F-16s don't have carburetors, but
I'm working with it.
No more F-16 carburetors for you. And they're like, whoa. These things go through a carburetor every fucking week. What are you talking about? We won't have an Air Force. I'm sure you can get some new carburetors somewhere. No, you're the only people who make carburetors for F-16s. I'll let that vessel go. Stop funding Hamas.
Our military does like the HP Inc. strategy, where it's like, oh, I'm sorry. Does your tank not work, dummy? Because
now there's another part. Now we know which one's better. Now we know these Russian things. They're getting butt fucked by Ukraine. Like that, dude. That's not supposed to happen. When your tanks are so bad that they're losing to Ukraine, against our tanks or our javelins or whatever. That's a bad look. Now, if I'm India, I don't want to buy the Russian stuff. It's been tested. It's not the good stuff.
Yeah, I saw a lot of.
It seems like American weapons manufacturers round down. I love that.
Yeah.
What's the range on your missile? Call it 50 miles. It's 180.
Yeah. We saw that with so the Russians had these supersonic missiles, and we had the Patriot system. And the Russians are like, it goes like Mach 5, and it goes like Mach 1. And we're like, the Patriot, yeah, we could probably never take out one of those, but it can. And then it gets tested, and we start shooting down these supersonic missiles. And the Russian scientist, did he get executed, or what the fuck happened to that guy?
There were 2 or 3 of them that they snatched up, and right after there was a night where half a dozen of those hypersonic missiles got shot down, and then immediately 2 or 3 Russian scientists who were on that program got locked up. They said they were getting locked up because they had sold secrets to China, but that might have. My guess, and this is just me, my Tom Clancy brain is, they were like, what the fuck? Dimitri said the missiles worked right. Look into him. And they found out that, you've been talking to Chang over there, huh? Well, you were on my list anyway. And now he's gone.
Was that I think you mentioned this before, where that was the story where like the scientists were lying about the capabilities of it, of like, oh, this can do this fast, it can take out this in the air, and then they test it and it can't do any of that shit.
Presumably,
we round down.
Putin is the guy who was out there. He's been doing it for like years now, maybe 10 years when they first came up with that missile, and he's like, in a word, it is the perfect weapon. It cannot be intercepted.
Perfect. It is as good a weapon as I am at ice hockey. Have you not seen clip? I dangle right past Alex Ovechkin. Alex Ovechkin, best player in the world. He says, I can't guard Putin. Like that would be. Is there a clip of that? I would love to see a clip of like Alex Ovechkin like pretending like, what do I do? Oh fuck! I tripped. Dude, there's that. I love that clip of Vladimir Putin going in, and even if you do not know hockey, he does not have dangles. He does not have hands. He's not toe dragging that puck. He's not whipping it about. And I watched the goalie because as a goalie, like I know like, why they're moving the way they do. And like it was hilarious because you watch the goalie shoot so way too far over to the right for no reason at all, and only only even put his blade down to move backwards after the puck is like beyond saving. Yeah. So he basically is like an automatic door, like, zzz, like just allowing the puck.
That's just another one of those examples of why the West really is the good guys, and the West really are like the more respectable team, despite the atrocities we've committed. I'll give you a parallel. The president,
I don't know about that.
The president goes out there and throws that first pitch. We all see it live. He could eat shit right there, and he does it right in front of us. He does this athletic achievement. He doesn't pretend like he's fucking bested anybody because we know he can't, but he does the thing. And going out there and having these guys, these clear professional athletes, and look, the crowd knows. This is what they enjoy. Whenever you're an expert on something, you hear somebody else talk about it poorly, you immediately go, what are you talking? You're wrong. These are the subject matter experts in the crowd watching Vladimir Putin outskate or outshoot or out anything.
I have another one.
It literally has the same vibe.
I saw him fall.
In between periods, like in professional hockey games, sometimes they'll have like youth kids come out and like do a little scrimmage. And that is what it feels like when you see Putin skating on the ice. It's like, if that were my skating ability and that were my puck handling and shooting ability, you could not fucking pay me to go out there and make an ass of myself that way. Like, he's not even vaguely good at hockey. Not even a little good. Not even
skate.
kind of
You know
good.
what he should do?
Skate, but his ankles are bent
Honorary
out. He's
ref
not
or
even
something.
skating correctly.
Oh, I didn't.
He should be
notice.
wearing a ref's jersey, and he should come out. He should drop the puck, and then that should be his thing. That's what I do.
Yes,
Like,
that's a better way to do it.
And like do that good athletic, aggressive, pushy skate off the ice, and the new ref jumps in and refs the game. That should be your moment. That's the equivalent of throwing
100%.
that first pitch. But no, let me go in there and fuck them up because it's so silly.
I saw
Or at least,
Obama
like-
play basketball against the UNC basketball team.
Mm.
And people don't know, if maybe you're not American, UNC is one of the better basketball programs in college. And anyway, Obama got just abused, right? Like, and he's like, well, you know, they're younger, and I remembered
Faster
myself being better at
More
this.
talented.
Yeah.
You know, at least it wasn't some Putin thing where they let him dunk on him or whatever. Like,
Yeah. They like are literally
Let me
like
ask you.
not hitting the ball out of Obama's hands so he can lay it up. Do you have any other dreams or aspirations of a job you would love to do? Like if you had your opportunity?
Something I was going to do
accountant.
right before COVID hit, I was actually going to join the army. I know the army, the pay is all shit. And
Everyone's dream job.
Everybody's
Army.
tax-free. Don't forget, you don't have to pay.
I hope you
reason why-
make it.
You don't have
The reason
to.
why I want to do something like that though is for the brotherhood and for the skill set
Mhm.
of learning how to shoot a gun properly and how to, just fight. And let alone travel a little bit. That sounds like fun. Travel while fighting people.
Yeah, that is
The
army.
French
kinda
Foreign
winning me
Legion
over.
is way more your style, though. Like the
I
French
know.
Foreign
So
Legion
I've been
is where you
thinking
wanna
about
go.
them lately too.
You've been thinking about joining the French Foreign Legion. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, I could see. you
They're
doing
I
that.
think they're pretty intense. Like they're known
Yeah.
for being intense.
Taylor, I'm with you. I'm like, the army is a very survivable job, especially right now. We're not involved in any
Josh.
major conflicts. In the next 4 years, we probably will be because it's America.
Well,
But
exactly. That's why you join now, so you
Can't
can be
fucking
high on the
wait.
ranks when it happens.
to watch.
They're going to
Join
try
now.
to recruit everyone, unless
So you're gonna get in early, so you're out of the grunt zone by the time it happens.
No,
Why
you wanna
the
be
not,
army?
not outside of the grunt zone, but I have more experience at that point. So
Yeah.
that's
He wants to
likely
be on the ground fighting.
Why the
Oh, yeah.
army though instead of like Marines or something like that?
So, yeah, so I might say the thing with the Marines, like I probably could do them, but I just don't know if I want to do that.
what's
And-
your ideal army role? Is it like paratrooper, tank, something else, like a
Man.
maintenance job of some sort?
I feel like either paratrooper or just like a straight up soldier, like the infantry.
Right.
But
That's
at the same
fun.
time,
They would
I
love
might-
to hear that.
I might
you go to
join-
a recruiter and start talking like this, he's going to be patting you on the back, buddy.
Yeah, he's gonna get that job. Yeah,
And you're going to drive a truck for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
I feel like another good one would be is the National Guard. And the reason why I say that, they actually do get a lot more training than every other branch because they have a lot more free time training on guns. So if you want to get really good at shooting guns, the National Guard is the way to go because they have a lot more free time. They always win the competitions they get in.
Really?
Is National Guard like
Yeah.
is that a full-time job or is that like I've never known that.
So that
Some people
depends
there
on
are full-time
That
jobs.
depends on what you want it to be. There's some contracts you could do where it's like a part-time job. You do X amount a month, or you could do all the assignments that the army goes to.
And there's reserves, right? There's like
yeah,
a couple. You can be in the reserves and you do that like, I don't think you do anything. I think you show up every few months and like do
Yeah.
some basic shit to like kind of check in and yes, sir,
Not
ready
too
to
bad.
report if shit hits the fan kind of thing. But
essentially, yeah.
man, right now, the thing to do, if I was 25, I would probably fucking do it. I'd be in Ukraine doing something silly, either either operating a drone or maybe something scarier. I don't know. If
Yo, did
somebody
you
was
guys
like,
see that video of that Russian dude who got shot and then a bomb dropped on him? And he just rolled over on his back. And you like look into his shoulder, there's just a giant gaping hole.
Ooh,
I actually know
Kyle
the one you're
sends us,
talking about.
Kyle sends us
Yeah,
3
I
of
know
those a day.
I know
Yeah.
the exact one he's talking about with the giant gaping hole in the back of his right shoulder when he rolls over. Yeah. they hit him with something big. Yeah.
Yeah, that dude's insane.
Was that the grenade?
How did his body not blow up? First off,
that's just not how explosives work. It's got to be a big baboom to blow him into smithereens. They're just dropping those grenades right on top of them and blowing chunks out of them.
Is a grenade strong enough that, like, if it was like surgically, like Saw style, implanted in someone's stomach and then it blew up from in there, it wouldn't like would their body be total, like, would they be in half, or would it would just explode out and they'd just be like all shredded up probably?
So I'll say this, because that's like a made up hypothetical I don't know much about.
Yeah.
But lots of guys have thrown themselves on top of grenades and survived in World War II. It happened a lot. They would throw their chest and their belly on top of it and get severe shrapnel wounds, or their ass. I think Grandpa Simpson did that. I think he did that. But so I think, but if there was a grenade surgically put inside of somebody's body, I think it'd blow a big hole out of them but I don't think it'd blow them to smithereens at all. Because when
those
you see grenades go off,
there's no way that those were fully functional grenades. There had to be something wrong with them. Like, they didn't blow up all the way, or they didn't shoot all the shrapnel or something. There's no way you can jump on top of a grenade that works 100% perfectly and survive.
What if you put your helmet on it?
Just like
that's
Abe
what
Simpson.
Grandpa Simpson did.
Is it not?
Yeah,
Captain America
sat on it.
I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Captain America stole that from Abe Simpson.
No, Captain America like went into
Simpsons did
fetal
it, right?
like position around the grenade. No, there's multiple cases in World War II, I know for sure, of guys throwing themselves on top of grenades and surviving it, and then plenty of people dying, as well.
I wonder
what's the safest job if you're like an elite soldier. I always thought like
driving a
sniper,
fucking truck.
But like the sniper actually seems unbelievably dangerous because you're all by yourself out there, or like with one other dude, right?
I think there's some positions on big Navy ships where people tend to survive a lot, especially now.
Yeah, if you're on a
our
big
Navy's
ship,
superiority is so lopsided.
Kyle,
did you disagree? You rolled your eyes.
If you do well,
No, I was just thinking of like first of all, in our military, the survivability rate is insane. Half of our military deaths are always contractors. If you go back to Iraq and Afghanistan, they'll be like, oh, we lost 7,000 people. That's not that bad. Yeah, and 7,500 more mercenaries that we were paying too, that they don't talk about. But it seems like if you're just a grunt in the army driving a truck, your odds are pretty fucking good. So if you put yourself, now you're, I don't know, Seaman First Class McGovern's who turns a wrench on some Navy ship, or you just sit behind a computer somewhere on the Navy ship and monitor the fucking cooling system or something, it's one of those ubiquitous jobs. I think there's 5,000 men on an aircraft carrier.
Well, shit like that, like, yeah. But I mean, like, of combat people.
Yeah, I'm
like,
glad you said that, Taylor. Zach has some lists on the side. Like, there's admin, financial management, HR. Right? That's
HR.
My brother-in-law was in the Air Force. I mentioned him briefly. His job was to look at pictures that satellites took carefully and circle things that he thought other people would be interested in. Like, hey, look, this truck moved a little bit. Pass that up the chain and see what they make of it. That is a high survivability job.
Yeah.
He's not getting hurt at all. He works in air conditioning.
Yeah, if you circle the wrong truck and they kill you, I doubt it. Like, it's not going to happen. But like, if you're out there in the mix, like the grunts have to die, or like the grunt equivalent of the SEALs or the Marines or whatever, the front man who's like really fighting, bursting in the, like, there's no way that like even a sniper, like, that's got to be way safer than that guy. Is there anything more dangerous than the guy going in first?
Kicking down a door seems extremely dangerous.
The first guy through the door.
Shout out my buddy. That's what he did in Afghanistan. Tough as shit.
Did he hit the door or was he first through it? Because those are different guys.
He was first through with a shotgun.
Yeah, see, that's the worst. That's got to be the worst. There's no way that's not the highest mortality part.
It was the most exciting thing he's ever done.
I bet.
You know what's tough? I'm sorry, Kyle. Did you want to go
talk to that guy?
Yeah. Dude, is he ruined for normal life now? Like I am a little bit. I have made good money not working very hard. Am I still capable of working like I used to? I'm not even sure. This guy has to readjust to life where a fucking, I don't know, roller coaster at Six Flags is supposed to be considered exciting. It's not exciting to this guy.
No, there's no way it's exciting for like there. I think I've told this on the
death's
show.
Door 100 times.
Yeah, many years ago I said this on the show. Like, so he dipped out of college because he got nervous that Afghanistan was going to be done before college. And so he he left because he wanted to go fight in Afghanistan. And he got there and everything. And it was maybe I was a junior in college. This is like 2011 or whatever. And he called me. It was like 3 a.m. my time in Missouri. And I got a call from him. And I'm like, what the fuck? I literally know he's one of my best friends. I'm like, I know he's in Afghanistan right now. And I answer the phone and I'm like, hello? And he's like, kind of scratches like, Taylor? And I'm like, what? Like you're, and he's like, yeah, dude, I just got in my first firefight. I was shooting. I saw bullets coming at me, whizzing past me, running around, gunfire. It was the most wild thing I've ever experienced. And I realized I absolutely can't call my mom. I absolutely can't call my dad and tell them about this. And the only person, like friend of mine's phone number I had memorized was yours. And I just got to talk to someone about this, man. It was fucking wild. And I'm like,
awesome.
I'm glad you're okay, man. Like, when are you coming home? like
never.
Because he's like leaning into it, like it was insane. Like the rush, like I couldn't stop moving around afterward. And I'm like, so you like saw bullets coming at you? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, but not close. And he's like, no, close. It's like, oh my God, dude. Like, and like to him, he was so amped up. The adrenaline was pumping. But to me, I was just like, fuck, I don't want one of my best friends to die in Afghanistan because he's so amped up. But
are you
and now like
that?
he'll talk about like how crazy it was, all the experiences. But then like when I see him with like another Marine, you know, the camaraderie they just instantly have as Marines, like they start sharing stuff. And then you like see the excitement come back out of like, oh, do you remember this and that? Were you this kind of guy? And something I have seen that's funny is he's a like frontline fighting combat Marine. And every so often, like I'll see him talk to another Marine who will be like a higher rank than him and be like, oh, I was at West Point and this and that. But because that guy didn't go through like the level of shit, there's almost like a deference respect of like, ooh, like that you went through a different level.
I have a friend who served in the Army, and I don't think he was quite as like kick down doors as your friend was, but he was in combat and stuff, and I don't want to say changed him, but like it's helped him put a different perspective on life's stress. So he's in a job interview, and the person interviewing him, right, he's the candidate, was nervous as heck. And I loved his line. He's like, I can tell you're nervous. Don't worry. I haven't killed anyone in like 20 years. And it's like, holy shit. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. You can tell the people that have. Oh, what's that?
I was gonna say, does your friend have any cool tattoos? Like, does he have like knock knock Marine Corps like on his bicep or something insane?
No,
nothing like that. But he has a ton of tattoos.
Nice.
A ton of tattoos. I'm like pressuring him because he's got one giant full sleeve, and he's like, I want another full sleeve, and I'm like, no. Like, if you're gonna, I have no tattoos, so I'm biased. But it's like, no, like if you're gonna have a full sleeve, you need that point of comparison with your regular arm, you know? Otherwise, you get that like Joe Rogan, just like dirty, like middle school desk scribbles look.
Taylor's friend, if you're watching, get a tattoo. The PKA pill logo is popular with the girls.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. He was so funny getting his tattoos early. He was just like, he'd come up with something he thought was funny and just get it. He got a chest piece, like a giant chest piece that just has like a wolf in a tuxedo holding 2 guns pointing out, and it says relentless. And he's like,
what?
It's hilarious. Like, it's just he's got a bunch of funny tattoos.
That's an awful tattoo.
Shout out him.
Yeah, shout out Taylor's friend.
Tell him that.
Yeah, that's great. So he had a shotgun. I like that's why I would like to talk to him, because I've never talked to anybody who used one in combat. I remember seeing some videos of guys talking about using them in combat indoors and how you could fire the buckshot along walls and ceilings. You know, you spray into the wall or the ceiling at a very sharp angle or a flat angle so that it sort of rides that flat surface and goes under doors, along walls, because people will be peeking just outside of a doorway, and you can make all that buckshot skim along the wall if you shoot it just right. If it's
that's so crazy.
I didn't know that.
Shotguns are fucking nasty.
Such a cool weapon, the shotgun.
Yeah, if he did what he did, then he has blown holes through people's heads as big as your fucking fist. You know, that thing was up close. A shotgun with buckshot is just insanity mode.
Oh, it just deletes people. apparently.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So if you were to be a warrior, John, you're going out there. What is it? Almost a fantasy that you think it would be fun to be in the war, or are you serious? Like you would actually want to fight?
I want that skill. I want that combat skill. Like that's why I started Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because I want to know how to fight properly. Mm-hmm. So if I were to join like any type of military branch, the main purpose is to have the combat skills.
Okay.
But I feel like everyone's going to need to know that skill here soon with the way the water's headed or heading.
Is it the more the gun skill you're looking for, or like
everything
fighting? Okay.
Yeah, combat tactics, gun marksmanship, like the whole. Because I want to stay focused on the guest, but like in watching the Ukrainian thing, I've realized how much I don't know about how war is conducted, and from the tactics of how you navigate a tree line to the strategy of how when you might use a pincher movement. I still get baffled by, like, say there's a front line. Someone makes some progress and now there's a bulge in that front line. Why is that bulge good for me? Because I feel surrounded, right? And then on the other hand, when they make the bulge, they are surrounded. I get very lost as to who has the advantage. Like I know the basics, like high ground is good, but it has shined a spotlight on how little I know about how to conduct a war. And that's what he wants to know.
And it also, like, to me, it shows how impressive like ancient warfare was and how they had to communicate. Like, look how difficult communication is in a modern war with walkie-talkies and radio and like instant things. Imagine like tens of thousands of people on horseback or on foot, and the advanced relaying of information you'd have to do, the anticipating of what moves you were having to do because you can't wait until real time to respond. Like, it made me think about that. And it was like, goddamn, like there's a reason Alexander the Great is still looked at like that, because he didn't just win with numbers. He defeated people with way more numbers all the time because he was so good at that.
I've been watching, there's a miniseries on Netflix about, I think it's like 16th century Japan. And this leader who was like a minor leader in the smallest province, who conquered 95% of the island of Japan with his armies. And those armies would be like 40,000 versus 40,000 samurai. And this guy was really innovative. It's been a cool show. The first thing he did, he was like, we need peasants. Fuck all these like highborn, like this and that. Arm the peasants. They're with us. They'll fight for everything. If they win, they're going somewhere in life. They'll fight harder than a rich man. And then he imported the guns. Like they were shitty guns. They were the ones that have like a burning fuse on the back, and when you pull the trigger, the fuse touches the powder. And
we did start. Who is this?
He was a Japanese warlord who conquered all of Japan in the 1500s. And so he set up these barricades with like spikes on the front, and you'd have like 3 or 4 riflemen in each one, and 3 or 4 bowmen in each one, and then 3 or 4 spearmen at each one. So the riflemen would be shooting, and when they're reloading, the bows are covering them. And if anybody gets too close, the spear guys stick them. And all the enemies are trying to ride on horseback, and they can't run them over because they're behind the big spiky shields. And they just slaughtered like huge amounts. There would be 4,000 versus 4,000, and 1,200 of the enemy would die, which is apparently a huge number. They talked about presenting him with 5,000 heads at one point. It was it's been fun. I always there's so much ritual suicide back. I don't know it, but for that to be true, like every historian on every continent would be exaggerating, right? Because this is the Japanese and their records saying 30,000 versus 30,000 and stuff.
I was meaning like a lot of people like in the Macedonian histories or whatever. It's like Alexander the Great defeated 1 million Persians, and it's like, well, he defeated a shit ton of Persians, probably not 1 million Persians.
A lot of Persians.
Probably not the same way that like in the Bible, every time you see the number like 144,000 or whatever, like that just means like a shit ton.
They're all like 4'8".
If you were in the military, what would you be?
Dead.
Well, why? Why would you be dead? You'd be a combat guy?
I don't know. I don't know what it'd be. It's not like you have your druthers right all the time. If you do like if you got to just pick, if it was that, if you got to pick what you did, I don't know. I don't know. The special forces guys seem to do all the cool shit, right? And they get to like wear beards and like dress how they want and like paint their guns green if they want to and just do whatever the fuck they want. Like, and of course, like that seems like the coolest job, but it also seems like the job that only the elite of the elite could even do. And I don't think I'm capable of such a thing.
I used to think I am. I used to think like so I have a damaged hand. It was never in the cards, but I used to be like, if I was in there, I'd be a Navy SEAL. That was my positive impression of myself. And I'd look at what they could do in terms of swimming and be like, I would easily rank amongst them. You know, like, of course, there's some great swimmers in there, but by and large, you know, that shit they do about pulling their mask off and people panicking, it's fucking silly stuff. It's no big deal. But the adult version of me is like, really? Because I'm not sure swimming is even the biggest part of being a Navy SEAL. You know, the water thing is really just an endurance of discomfort.
That's how they root out the pussies, apparently.
That's what that's
not
what he said.
pussies because
and I haven't shown any superhuman ability to endure discomfort. You know, like it sleep deprivation and the go sugar cookie yourself and all that fun stuff. There's no evidence that I'd be a Navy SEAL. I don't
know. Yeah. But that does seem like the coolest job. If that were the question, I answer it that way. But like, I don't know.
I can tell just by looking at you, you don't have what it takes to be a Navy SEAL.
To hack it in the SEAls.
I drowned twice, not because I failed the first time, but because I couldn't get enough of it.
What is dead may never die.
After that, Minnesota was a cakewalk.
Oh, he's ridiculous.
Yeah. So more realistically, like something that I think I could do is like maybe a helicopter pilot or something like that. That seems like anybody can kind of do that. I don't see those guys
I'd be
as
bad
like
at that.
the smartest people in the world or the most coordinated people in the world. They're good at what they do and everything, but I just don't think it's some unattainable thing. Like trying to become a fighter pilot, I feel like is like trying to be a baseball player. You know, I feel like they rank pretty close to each other. Like everybody wants to. We all saw Top Gun, like, but only a handful of people. Yeah, only the best of the best can do that shit. And there's
my friend is a helicopter pilot, and I've talked to him about it and stuff. And I used to I sometimes insert myself like, how would I do in that position?
A military pilot or
he's in the Army,
regular pilot.
And flying the helicopter, I feel like I could get grips on. You know, it's not the easiest thing, but you know, I think I could learn to fly a helicopter. The challenge is there's other aspects of it that I would suck at. Navigation is a huge part of it. Spotting things on the ground, doing recon is a big part of his job. Directing people. I talk to people around the airport and fucking mix up east and west from time to time. That doesn't fly when you're doing recon in the Army as a helicopter pilot.
6 clicks east. No, west. West. I'm like 80%. Wait, hold on.
I still like Woody. They're all dead. They're all dead, Woody.
Yes.
We just burnt them all alive. That was the city.
I'm not sure if it's east-west. It's definitely down from here.
Well, it's below me. I'll tell you that for damn sure. It's right. It's below me.
So you just
like a 9-iron shot away to the left. Yeah.
So it's occurred to me, at least the kind of helicopter pilot he did. So with recon, not only do you find bad guys and good guys, but you direct good guys. You spend a lot of time telling them like, oh yeah, I recommend you approach from the north and then come into the west and hook around and whatever. Like that kind of is a big part of what the helicopters are doing out there, and I think I'd be bad at it.
Yeah, that sounds really fun. And there's bunches of helicopters, like you just intimated. Like you could. There's attack helicopters and troop transport helicopters, and I'm sure there's a guy flying a helicopter that just moves around like toilet paper and water and shit.
Chinook pilots, they just move shit all the time.
I hate that. That'd be the worst fucking job.
They like it. It's
No, I want the job where you fucking blow shit up and kill people,
they
right?
hate
Like
that.
you want that fucking. You want to be an Apache, like with that fucking. That heads up display where you look and the fucking gun is outside like some RoboCop shit, and you've got that 30mm cannon that you can and you like we're waiting on the bullets to get there. We'll see what happens.
So there's
and then you can see them.
That's all dream shit though. Like that happens once a lifetime. the reality of being an Apache a helicopter pilot, like the only thing they're good for is war, so they don't even fly them most of the time.
You make a terrible army recruiter.
You sit around doing fucking nothing all the time. The Apache helicopter itself flies itself. Like apparently there's less rudder work and it auto stabilizes. You know how hard it is just to hover a helicopter? Apparently we could all hop in Apaches because they auto hover like a fucking drone. If you can fly a Phantom, you know, you can do that. And you leave with very little airtime and less marketable job skills. Like Apache, the people who are at the head of their flight class typically don't choose Apaches, but they do choose things like Chinooks because those guys fly constantly. There's always a mission having to do with moving some Humvee.
I want to shoot shit. I want a gun on mine. If there's not a gun on it, then I don't want to go. That would be my goal. I want to fly something with a gun on it. No, I want big guns. I want a 30-miller cannon and some fucking Hellfire rockets or something outrageous. I want to burn some shit. I want to some shit.
I'd rather be on the ground than in the air, I think. I don't want to be up in the air. I'd rather be on the ground. But also thinking of like Band of Brothers.
Up in the air, go home every night.
I'll be fine. Like, maybe it's like I don't have to go. I can talk big right now. It doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, I'd fucking go in there and do wreck shit. I just like watching Band of Brothers. Like in that one scene in the beginning of it where Ross from Friends is like training the troop, and he gets out there and his like sergeants or whatever are like, you know, Lieutenant, we have to go east towards that fence. It's like, no, it's a trap. We go north over there. And they like immediately pop out, and then like all the ghillie-suited training teachers are like just pointing at him, and they're like, "Oh, well, you failed. You fucking lose." Like I would never want to be the guy in charge of directions, because we would be maybe a third of the way through World War II if I was in that room with Churchill giving directions of like, just go east. No, wait, west. You know what? Just spread everybody out just in case. Like, I would not be helpful with any sort of directional thing at all. I'd need something like that. I'm horrible with that. But I don't know. Seems like on the ground would be much, much better. Like you'd have to be in the firefight more in like a World War II scenario. But the thought of being shot down from a plane, or like you're in a helicopter and the fucking pilot gets shot or something. Like, I don't know. It's freaky. And the tank thing, I've thought about that too. But all I could ever think about if I was in the tank is like, yeah, I'm super protected. And I'm like, oh no, the enemy knows I'm super protected and they're German. Mercedes has a great shell for this. Like, and then you'd be fucked. Like, Mercedes, extra penetrable shell. You know, now available.
I don't think you'd want. I would not want to be the guy on the ground if I could help it. Like the idea with the SEALs and the special forces is that it seems like from what you see on TV and the movies is like they go in and do a thing and then take them back out and then they're done, or maybe they're just doing something for a while, but then they're always getting extracted. I just really don't like the idea of like. I can't remember there's been a couple of documentaries where those soldiers are in Afghanistan were just like stuck there, like bunkered down on that hilltop, and it's just like every day we guard this nothingness valley with our lives until they let us go home. Like that seems like the worst. That seems like every day you wake up like, all right, I'm gonna go risk my life for nothing again today in this valley worth nothing in Afghanistan. Like that seems like awful job. Whereas I'd much rather be the guy on an aircraft carrier who's like waving those signal things around and like doing a little dance move as I send the planes off, you know? Then he goes down below and like, I don't know, eat some food, and they might even have like a pocket pussy or something. Like that guy's got a good job.
Like, if you're the guy, like you're in the Middle East, in Afghanistan, like it's even worse if you're like one of those guys in like 2004, like the first part of it, you know, in Iraq, I guess it is. And just like in Afghanistan then, I guess that was like 2005 or whatever. Like, they'd have to be at a war being like, oh, this isn't at all what I pictured.
Because 9/11 was 2001. We must have been in there within 9 months or so, right?
No.
It took us longer to get into Afghanistan than Iraq. I don't know the exact. I was just kind of picking like an earlier
the other way.
Date of it. Oh, you might be right. But when you first get into Afghanistan, like it'd have to be such a horrible, rude awakening to be like, oh, this is nothing like I thought war was.
We went to Afghanistan like shortly thereafter, but Iraq didn't happen until 2004 or like late 2003 maybe.
Then you're right.
That's when like the shock and awe thing happened, because I remember we watched Shock and Awe in class, like in medals class. The teacher was like, "Fucking watch this shit. Bush is showing them what for, boys.
Dude, we did some so September 11th, 2001, obviously, is when 9/11 happened. By October 7th, less than a month later, the war had started in Afghanistan.
Okay, so I got mixed up there. But if you were in 2002 or whatever on the early part of Afghanistan and you get over there in the Middle East, like guaranteed you ask those people like 10 months before, like, what's Afghanistan? Like, most of them are going to be like, that's where the Easterlings are from in Lord of the Rings, I believe. And it's like, they would have no idea. Like, I don't know, at least I could definitely see how that would be like totally disenchanting once you got there and you imagined the war to be like all the propaganda stuff they show you about World War II when like true valor and shit like that was still, you know, and who knows how much of that was propaganda. It's been so long, we probably bought a lot of it. Like, who knows?
Dude, I think like original Afghanistan, the first people like Taylor's talking about were probably psyched. They were probably like, fuck yeah. You know, like after 9/11 happened, I have just been clenching my fists, hoping they send me to Afghanistan. I want to be the guy that finds Osama bin Laden, right? Probably everyone there, it's their version of a high school football player making the NFL. You know, they want to be the guy that gets that kill. Fast forward 6 years later, you know, bin Laden's like already dead. We don't even know what we're doing. Now there's a like valley full of nothingness that we're defending for some reason. What? So Afghanis have a better way of life, and those are the demotivated
protecting
guys.
poppy fields and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, where you just have to know, where they're like, protect this field. There's lots of buried intelligence in chests. Don't ask what, just do it. And they're like, oh, so we're protecting heroin. Is that?
Oh, they were very clear about the fact that they were protecting the heroin. You know, they were clear about that. And did you watch that Brad Pitt movie on Netflix? There's that scene there where it's called The Sandbox or something like that. I can't remember, but it's about that. It's about the general that they put in charge of Afghanistan a couple years ago, and he thought that the reason that Afghanistan had been going poorly for like 8-9 years was that like they just didn't have the right man in there doing the job right, and that he was just going to like willpower and like make this thing work like through will along, and he got there and realized it's just a mess that can't be made right. But there's a part where he's standing there looking at the big heroin / poppy field, and he's like, why don't we have them grow corn? Can't they grow corn or wheat or something like that? And he's like, yes sir, he could, but that would be in direct competition with American farmers, and we can't have that, sir. So we just have them grow the heroin. All right then.
They laid that out real quick.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does, right? Because you're like, well, I don't want U.S. tax dollars pouring into some Afghani crop, which is going to hurt some U.S. farmer in Ohio. So have them grow heroin, which will hurt their kids, I guess. I don't know.
The farms in Ohio.
I maybe I didn't think that through.
No, now it's
got
full
big
circle.
opioid problems. Yeah, you know, like all over
If we
Kentucky.
really wanted to beat them, then you need to have those farmers in Ohio grow enough heroin that you put the Afghanis out of business, right? Like I bet those motherfuckers are in a desert with you always see them and they look dry, like the sand people from fucking Star Wars, and just like chapped lips and stuff. They don't have enough water to grow a fine crop of opium like we could here in the breadbasket of.
Can you imagine what the average person's piss smells like in areas in the Middle East where they just don't have enough water? It's just like if they have
it just comes out a long tube.
Asparagus day every day.
Imagine if you gave them you gave them just like a 1.5 liter bottle of fucking Fiji or something, and they guzzle that down, and like half an hour later they'll be like, there is a great problem. There is clear pee coming out of me. Muhammad spoke against this, you know, or like whatever it would be, like that. Just imagine how much that would suck. Like, obviously, I'm talking about rural areas since they have fucking water in cities and shit they can drink.
Not
but
big city Afghanistan. That's not what we're talking about.
Well, no, we're not talking about the hustle and bustle. What's the name of that city?
Kabul.
Mashmeshi.
Meshmeshi, you totally made that up. Meshmeshi is in unspecified not Afghanistan.
But the first time someone brought up like Uzbekistan to me, I'm like, I gotta check on that.
You know, like I'm not 100% sold on this Uzbekistan of sorts.
You were young during 9/11, but I had all these coworkers who claimed to have like knowledge of the Afghanistan situation before 9/11.
Really?
Like, oh yeah, no, I've been following these guys. Listen, I'm an expert on the Taliban. Bullshit. You have never once mentioned the Taliban until 9/11. You know, I will grab a map and I will test your ass.
You know what did happen? I promise this happened because I always say we were in driver's ed like when it happened. We were listening to the radio. We were in the car like pulling back into the school and it was going down on the radio. And I remember my driver's ed teacher going, "But it was that Osama bin Laden fella."
Really?
But it was him. Yeah, I swear to God he did.
Like, I had never heard of Osama bin Laden until now. I know that Clinton tried to take out the Taliban, and he got. It was
when
like
did Bin Laden like get CIA training from us?
Yeah,
like when?
Yeah, so he was part of the Mujahideen back when the resistance against the Soviets. Yeah, and we were pumping in like resources, Stingers, if you will. In other words, Stinger missiles and weapons platforms.
I mean,
and
like
a lot
what
of
like time period was that?
The 80s.
80s.
And then when did it end? Like
the 90s. Russians. Yeah. Yeah. Like when did the Berlin Wall fall? Like 89, probably coincided right in there with the fall of the Soviet Union. Yeah. You know, it definitely didn't help.
Sometime during Clinton's term, they attacked the USS Cole. I think it was towards the very end of it, and then it became very obvious they are now our enemy too.
Yeah, they had bombed some embassies and stuff. Yeah, they were dicks. But yeah, it's interesting to see how that all changed, because in the Cold War we had found an ally in these people who would fight against the Soviets for us. And you know, I always talk about how at the end of Rambo 3, the credits in Rambo 3, Rambo goes to Afghanistan and rescues his old commander and fights the Soviets. And it used to say, in the credits, like this film is dedicated to the brave fighters of the Mujahideen, which is fucking Osama bin Laden, his crew, right?
Really?
And yeah. But so now,
that didn't. Somebody regrets that now.
Then now you go back and watch. You rent Rambo 3, and it'll say this film is dedicated to the gallant people of Afghanistan.
The gallant people. So they stepped it back a bit.
Yeah, but it's still there a little bit. It's
definitely still there.
A big part of the movie is that like some Afghan fighters like join with Rambo and like guide him and get him there, and then there's a big resistance. They help him a bit. You know,
horses against tanks. Horses win for some reason.
How
it's been a while
some of the allies.
It's been a while. I haven't.
Like having Russia as an ally, or I guess the Soviet Union at the time in World War II. Like, I don't know. It really speaks to how fucking horrible the Japanese and the Germans were at the time, that we were like, all right, like Soviet Union, dude, like in all honesty, like go fuck yourself. But we gotta figure this out. Like this guy, this mustache dude is wrecking shit. That Japanese guy has got your fucking number. If you let him, pitter patter around over there, he's gonna get bored of raping Nanking eventually, and then goddamn Moscow's on the list. Like, do you ever think about that? Like how weird it is that we utilized that ally, and then as soon as it was over, it was like, all right, we're all
over the place. Now
right.
Germany's a better ally than Russia is, and
yeah, that's been like that for years.
Yeah, it's been that way for years. I know you're distasteful because you recent events, but yeah, Germany's a better ally than Russia is. I don't know.
Russia's not our ally.
No.
Like they're not our friends. Vladimir Putin is a dictator who murders people.
I always am questioning on the murder people thing. Like, I give leaders a pass because some people need a little murdering, right?
Yeah, but he gives direct orders for like political opposition and like writers and journalists and stuff. He's like, like that's how you know Trump isn't the fucking actual Antichrist or like a really big bad guy or anything. Because there's so many goddamn people mocking him 24/7, and he has the power, I'm sure, to have at least one or two of them rubbed out. I mean, Hillary Clinton's had at least 3 or 4 people killed in the last 6 months, it seems. And Trump's got more power than her, right? Like,
well, she didn't win, and she's bored. Like, who's gonna finish all of those lampshades and weird art on indistinguished, canvases on her wall? Who's gonna do that? Who's gonna fill her fingernail bowl? Like whatever other creepy shit she has.
Oh God.
Part of me wants to believe that, like, what was that in The Simpsons? The Hammer Club or whatever the fuck it was.
The monkey paw.
What was it? What you said?
Monkey paw.
No. We do. Yeah, we do.